Hello everyone. Now this is the last part of in this video I'll be discussing the last part of the unit lipids, chemistry and metabolism of lipids. Now in this video I'll be discussing about lipoproteins and atherosclerosis. Rest all of the topics I've discussed in my earlier videos. So now what are lipoproteins? As the name suggests, lipo plus proteins means lipid plus proteins. Now what happens? Now lipids, all that lipids which are absorbed from the diet or which have been synthesized in the liver and adipose tissue, they need to be transported to the various parts of the body. Then only they can be utilized for production of energy. But the point is that lipids, they are insoluble in water. So how can they be transported in the aqueous plasma? So for that, what happens? The non-polar lipids, that is the triacylglycerols and the cholesterol esters, they are combined with amphipathic lipids, that is the phospholipids and cholesterol and proteins. And this combination makes a water miscible lipoprotein, which can be transported to various parts of the body easily in the aqueous medium. Now let's discuss about the general structure of the lipoproteins. They contain a non-polar core. Non-polar core is hydrophobic. That is, it hates water. It is not soluble in water. And the surface layer is amphipathic. It contains amphipathic liquids. The non-polar core has triacylglycerols and cholesterol esters. Whereas the surface has the amphipathic phospholipids and cholesterol molecules and proteins. The protein apoprotein is the protein moiety of the lipoprotein. It is known as apoprotein or apolipoprotein. So this diagram shows this figure shows the general structure of lipoprotein. See, the core or center has the cholesterol esters and the cholesterol, whereas the boundary, it has phospholipids, proteins, two types of proteins, the peripheral proteins and the integral apolipoproteins. Now these peripheral lipoproteins, they can be transported to other lipoproteins also. But the integral lipoproteins, they cannot be removed. So this diagram shows the general structure of the lipoproteins. Now let's talk about the classification of lipoproteins. The classification we'll be doing is based on their density. How are these lipoproteins separated? They are separated by ultracentrifugation. So the first lipoprotein, which is based on the density, that is chylomicrons. From where do we get these chylomicrons? From the intestinal absorption of the triacylglycerols and other lipids. And what is their density? It is less than 0.95 is their density. Now the second is very low density lipoproteins. They are derived from liver and they export the triacylglycerol or triglycerides. Now what's their density? It's 0.95 to 1.006 and their diameter is somewhat between 30 to 80 nanometers. The next is intermediate density lipoproteins. From where are they derived? They are derived from the catabolism of VLDL. They are an intermediate product of the catabolism of VLDL. And their density is somewhat between VLDL, that is very low density lipoproteins, and LDL, low density lipoproteins. Then fourth are the low density lipoproteins. The low density lipoproteins, they are obtained from where? From the catabolism of VLDL. The final stage of catabolism of VLDL, we get LDL, the low density lipoproteins. And their density is somewhat between 1.019 to 1.063. And last are the high density lipoproteins. The high density lipoproteins, their density ranges between 1.063 to 1.121 and they are involved in cholesterol transport. Now see, those lipoproteins which have high lipid content, they have low density. The low density, very low density and intermediate low density lipoproteins, they have high lipid content and they have large size. So they float on centrifugation. Whereas the lipoproteins which have high protein content, that is the HDLs, They are what? They have a high density, right? So the lipoproteins with high lipid content have low density, and the lipoproteins with high protein content have high density. So high density lipoprotein has less of lipid content and more of protein content. Now is about the metabolism. First let's talk about the LDL metabolism, that is low density lipoprotein metabolism. It's a bad cholesterol. And what is its function? It transports cholesterol from liver to peripheral tissues. And it contains only one lipoprotein, which is ApoB100. And LDL particles, they are derived from VLDL. Now their half-life is about 2 days. This diagram or picture shows you the structure of LDL. There is only one protein, one kind of apoprotein, that is ApoB100. Then what is the function of LDL? The 75% of plasma cholesterol, it is incorporated into the LDL particles. The LDL, they transport cholesterol from liver to the peripheral tissues. They take the cholesterol from liver to peripheral tissues. That is why it becomes the bad cholesterol. So this cholesterol may be used for synthesis of steroids. It may be incorporated into membranes, or it may be esterified to mufas and stored. So see how the bad cholesterol, it is being traveled from liver to the heart or various parts of the body, and it gets deposited into the vessels also, causing atherosclerosis also. So what is its clinical significance? That its LDL concentration is increased in cardiovascular diseases. What happens? Small fraction of it is taken by macrophages, and its increased level, what do they do? Get oxidized LDLs are formed, which accumulate in the atheromatous plaques. They block the arteries. Then next is high density lipoprotein. HDL metabolism we'll talk about. It is a good cholesterol. Now what is it doing? It is picking up cholesterol from various peripheral tissues and bringing it to the liver. Where is it synthesized? It's synthesized in liver. And it has ApoA1, ApoA2, ApoC and ApoE apoproteins. Now then is its metabolism. The intestinal cells, they synthesize the components of HDL and release them into the blood. The nascent HDL, it is discoid in shape. And the free cholesterol, it is taken up by the HDL. So this is a little bit about the metabolism of HDL. Then are the functions of HDL. HDL, what does it do? I have already told you, it transports the cholesterol from various peripheral tissues and brings it back to the liver. This is called reverse cholesterol transport. That is why it is called the good cholesterol, because it's bringing cholesterol, it's picking up the cholesterol from your tissues and bringing it to the liver. And then from here, the cholesterol is excreted through bile. So that is why it is called the good cholesterol. And on this cholesterol excretion, it needs prior esterification with PUFA. This PUFA, they reduces the serum cholesterol level. And this PUFA is anti-atherogenic. That is, it doesn't promote atherosclerosis. It acts against the atherosclerosis. So clinical significance of HDL. HDL, the clinical significance, what is the clinical significance of HDL? It is inversely related to MI. MI is myocardial infarction. And how is this myocardial infarction occurring? By the atherosclerosis of the coronary arteries. Then what happens? There is blockage and infarction occurs. But this HDL is doing what? It is anti-atherogenic and it is protective in nature. That is why it is called the good cholesterol. So that is all about the lipoproteins. The 4 types of lipoproteins we have talked about. The high density, low density, intermediate density, very low density and chylomicrons. So they become 5 types of the lipoproteins. So in this I sum up, the HDL is good cholesterol and LDL is bad cholesterol. Now in next topic, atherosclerosis, we will see how these VLDLs act as bad cholesterol and promote atherosclerosis. Now next topic is atherosclerosis. Now what is this? See this diagram showing a normal artery and an artery having atherosclerosis with plaque buildup, which has, you can see it has made the lumen of the artery narrow. So this is the atherosclerosis. Now what is atherosclerosis? It's also known as arteriosclerotic vascular disease or ASVD. It is a condition in which what happens, the artery wall, it gets thickens because of the addition of the fatty material into it. And chronic inflammatory response is also induced. And due to this accumulation of macrophages, white blood cells, and all this is promoted by low density lipoproteins, then what happens? Atheromatous plaques are formed and there is hardening or furring of the arteries. Now sometimes multiple plaques are also formed, and sometimes what happens is plaques, they get disintegrated to form a blood clot, which can clot the artery anywhere, and if it clots the arteries of the heart, then the heart problems, they start. There are certain terms: arteriosclerosis, atherosclerosis, atherogenic and atherogenesis. Arteriosclerosis is the hardening of medium or large arteries. Atherosclerosis is hardening of any of the arteries due to an atheromatous plaque. And atherogenic is any substance which is promoting this atherosclerosis. And atherogenesis is the developmental process of this atheromatous plaque. Now what happens? What are the causes of it? How it starts with the damage to the inner wall of the blood vessels, to the damage to the endothelium. And how this damage occurs? There are some factors which can cause damage. One is high blood pressure, second is high cholesterol, third is nicotine, irritants or some irritants or some like nicotine, and fourth is certain diseases such as diabetes. Now what happens? Once these irritants, they damage the tissue, in that hypothesis is called response to injury tissue. Once there is a chronic endothelial injury, what happens? There is accumulation of lipoproteins. That is why I am discussing this topic with lipoproteins, because the bad cholesterol or the low density lipoproteins, they get accumulated over here. And once they get accumulated, what happens? Monocyte adhesion occurs over there. Then it's factor release and platelet adhesion. Let's discuss point by point. The first point is chronic endothelial injury. Injury to the endothelium of the blood vessel. You know, endothelium is the innermost layer. How can it be injured? I have just now told. It can be due to high blood pressure, due to high cholesterol, due to some irritants like nicotine or some other factors like diabetes. Once it has been injured, there is accumulation of lipoproteins over there. And which lipoproteins are accumulating? Low density lipoproteins. And also the low density lipoproteins, they get oxidized. Both of these oxidized low density lipoproteins and low density lipoproteins, they get accumulated over there. They come in contact with that injured part and they get accumulated over there. Once they are accumulated, what happens? The third step occurs. Now there is monocyte adhesion. How does this occur? The immune response of the body starts. What does it sense? It sends the specialized leukocytes. Which specialized leukocytes? The macrophages and the T lymphocytes. They go to that part. But what happens? They are not able to oxidize this cholesterol. Rather, they rupture. And once they rupture, this process is further triggered. Now the platelets come and accumulate over there. The factor is released from the activated platelets. And all this is what? It is further stimulating the deposition of particles over there, and an atheromatous plaque is formed. So further lipid accumulation occurs over there and the atherosclerosis occurs. Now what are the symptoms of the atherosclerosis? Now it can narrow the artery, or it can clog or completely block the artery. And when it blocks the arteries, the coronary arteries or arteries of the heart, it can cause heart attack, or it can even cause the stroke. So this is all about the atherosclerosis. Now you can see why are we saying the very low density lipoproteins to be bad cholesterol. Low density lipoproteins are being called bad cholesterol again and again. Why are they called bad cholesterol? See how they are leading to heart attacks or strokes, or how are they blocking the arteries by the process of atherosclerosis. So I hope all of this topic of lipoproteins and atherosclerosis is clear to you. And if you have any queries regarding this topic, you can leave a question in the comment box, or feel free to contact me. My contact number is being displayed. Thanks for watching this video. Thank you and have a nice day.